Hi there Pisces, I'm EllaAradia and welcome to your February 2026 Psychic Tarot reading. This reading is for my Pisces water signs, where we'll be exploring the overall energies and themes for the month ahead, as well as taking a deeper dive into how these might be playing out for you in your life. This is a general reading, so it's going to resonate a little bit differently for all of you, but what I do find is there's always a shared theme that runs through the collective of all of you Pisces signs. So take what feels aligned to you and just leave the rest. And before we jump in, a big thank you to all of you who are supporting my channel by liking and subscribing. So if you enjoyed this reading and you haven't already done that, please do. It helps the channel out a lot. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, and then you can get notified when the next videos are up. So Pisces, let's jump in. So I always like to just tune into the energies first, Pisces, before I start pulling cards. I'm seeing some kind of tower moment that you may be just on the way out from, because I'm seeing things kind of breaking apart, falling apart, things not working out perhaps the way you thought they would, the way you wanted them to, because I sense disappointment. For some of you, heartbreak. But at the same time, I feel whatever this change is, it's something that's necessary, because I do feel like there's a little bit of a pattern of over-investing in the sense of staying in something unhealthy for too long in the hopes of receiving something, in the hopes of change. And whatever this is, you know, I just feel that it hasn't given you, you know, what you really want from this, and you've hung on for too long. And now I feel like the universe has kind of intervened, because what I'm seeing, it's almost like the universe has come in and kind of spun that wheel. And when the wheel stops, the arrow is pointing in a different direction. So this is some kind of diversion. There's a change, and it might be quite a challenging one for you. But this change, I feel, is really meant to put you on a different path. I mean, of course, it's always an invitation. You know, you always make your own choices here, but there's, you know, there's some other path for you, which I feel is one that is going to bring you more close to what you really want in life, what you really want in love. With your overall energies, we have the Nine of Swords, often a card of anxiety and getting a little bit kind of caught up in, you know, thoughts, fears, worries. You know, there might be a lot of stress about this situation. There might be a lot of uncertainty as to, you know, do you stay with it? Do you let things kind of fall apart? Do you take a different direction? You know, what is that direction? And, you know, it's often a card. You know, sometimes when you kind of wake up in the night, and especially when there's a little bit of a stressful situation going on and the thoughts start and you just keep going back over things, it's often a card with these energies of, you know, something kind of keeping you up at night, you know, just worrying, anxiety. What lies in your recent past is the Knight of Wands. This is known as the player of the tarot, and I very, very strongly feel these energies off this card as well. You know, it can have different meanings, but I just feel that for many of you, in terms of love, this is the person you've been dealing with. Your current energies, the Seven of Pentacles. So you are being asked to take a pause here and to really look at what you have here. And making some decisions here around, is this still something you want to keep on investing your energies into? It's very much a card of, taking stock and really looking at who or what do you want to invest your energies in moving forwards. Because whoever this is, I do get the sense of you seeing a potential with this person. And this may well be someone that's on the cusp of being ready to, open up to something deeper, to settle down, but there's still this kind of player energy there. And, sometimes, it can get a bit complicated because so often we see the potential, we see what it could be. And very often we get more kind of hooked into that than the reality of a situation. Because I do feel like if you were to look back, I do feel that there were red flags, and I do feel like your intuition, was bringing things to your awareness around something not feeling quite right. Are we really on the same page? Do we really want the same things? And I do get this sense of you kind of like sticking it out in the hopes of something changing. Your feelings towards your situation is the Six of Cups. So there's a lot of nostalgia going on here. Some of you may be in no contact, or this connection may have already, broken down. Because the Six of Cups, it talks about revisiting the past. And with the Nine of Swords there, I just feel like there's a lot of going back over the past and churning things around in your mind. If you had maybe approached things differently, it might be different. If you hadn't have said this, or if you had said something else, maybe things would have been different. But the Six of Cups is often an energy that, we go back to the good times, the happy memories, the times where, we felt loved. And I do feel like there's a little bit of a caution here still around making sure you're seeing things clearly, you're seeing things for what they really are. It's not just about remembering, the good bits, because I do feel like you have been dealing with somebody who hasn't been investing in you the way that you have been investing in them. And I feel like you have been, very loyal, very, you've really loved this person in, with your heart in a very genuine way. And I just don't feel like they were really ready to receive you, to receive that love. They never really received your presence. And what lies in the challenge is temperance. The hidden influence, the Three of Cups. That's that player energy I keep feeling again. Of course, the Three of Cups can relate to a lot of different things here. But it can also represent, third-party energies for some of you. And I just feel with temperance, there are some strong soul lessons here. This may well be, a trauma bond. And, whatever this connection is, it's something that has been quite intense. It may have, moved forwards very quickly. But part of it, I feel, is about learning soul lessons here. And temperance is all about healing, moderation, patience. It's about, integrating the shadow aspects of ourselves and as we integrate those into our being, we can actually create something new. Your advice from the universe, the Chariot. I feel like this is a card of taking your power back in this situation and staying in your lane, staying focused. This is about bringing that energy back to yourself and getting back in, let's say, the driving seat of your life, taking control. Because I definitely feel that, you know, there's a lot of your essence that has gone into this situation with this person. I almost get the sense of you kind of losing yourself a little bit. You know, I do feel like it's affected many of you. You know, it's affected your, you know, your joy, your happiness in life. I feel like it's really kind of taken your energy in that way. And I do feel that the universe has, you know, brought this invitation in to perhaps move on and walk a different path here. But I do feel like there's a bit of a challenge there. And a little bit of a challenge maybe around seeing things for how they really are. And it doesn't mean that, you know, the person that you're dealing with is a bad person or anything like that. I just get the sense of, you know, maybe they weren't meant to stay. Maybe it was always about looking at, you know, why do you stay in something longer than you should? Why do you stay in something that's, you know, unhealthy, or you're not receiving back what you really deserve? And sometimes, you know, the Six of Cups is about you revisiting the past and taking a deeper look around, you know, what might be underneath that. You know, sometimes this is about inner child healing and looking at, you know, what are the beliefs that you're really holding about yourself. You know, I just get the sense there might be a little, you know, frozen version of you. Sometimes, you know, parts of our energy get stuck in the past, where there is this younger version of you that didn't feel chosen, seen, loved, you know, for who they truly are. And that part of your energy, I feel, has been, you know, looking for that to be validated on the outside. And we often, you know, go through these lessons with partners that we attract or choose. And to me, it feels like that is what this is about. And, you know, there's a big invitation here to, you know, really integrate those soul lessons, to clear those patterns which, you know, if you can, will bring you into a more whole and complete space in yourself, where you can actually attract someone who is ready, and someone who is, you know, ready for commitment, ready to love you. You know, that other people are our mirrors, you know, and it's always good to kind of question it. Like when something's going on, to question, you know, what are they mirroring to me around the relationship I'm having with myself? And so as you become aware of those things, I mean, awareness is, you know, one of the biggest keys to transformation. And as you become aware of these things, they do start to transform, and your energy does start to shift, and you start to choose you. And when you start choosing you through the energy of self-love and knowing what you deserve, then you start to attract connections which mirror that back to you. So there's a big, you know, lesson here with Temperance around healing the past. Because really what I feel about this connection is Yes, it feels intense, and yes, it feels like it kind of moved forwards very, very quickly, and you saw this amazing potential with this person. But actually, it wasn't quite what you thought it was going to be. They weren't able to be the person that you wanted them to be. And part of that, I feel, is it was about bringing up these lessons for you to heal and resolve, and perhaps they were never really meant to stay. And it really is time here with this Chariot card to take your power back. And what lies in your outcome is judgment. So this is a big energy of questioning, you know, questioning this situation and really going back over the past and learning from the past. It's all about learning, growing, evolving, and looking at, you know, what is it time to let go of here? What do you take with you moving forwards? Because really what you take with you is the wisdom from the lessons of the past. And that's so important so that we don't, you know, go down the same roads again. So we don't repeat the same patterns which, you know, really haven't brought us, you know, that love or what it is that we want and deserve. So definitely a moment to take a pause here. There's an invitation here for a reset, a change in direction. And I feel about trusting that. And to trust that, I feel like it's about seeing the bigger picture. So Pisces, I'm going to leave that there. If this reading resonated, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, no matter what comes through in a reading, moving forwards, always trust what feels right for you. So thanks so much for being here, and I wish you a great month ahead.